just to recap where we are with everything, hopefully everybody downloaded the my version, and you need to change the name. Um, so now we're all working on the exact same page, so to speak. All right, so just to recap, as you know, we have two styles here. We have the chapter, actually, we have three chapter title, we have numbers, and then, of course, we have the basic paragraph. All right. Um, you know that anything that we do at this point, as far as the paragraphs are concerned, the contents, we can pretty much do that with the styles. And if you wanted to add more pages, you can increase the point size of the fonts very easily by going to the paragraph style and changing the font size. You can change the lettering, as you know. So there are things that you can also change the margin widths, as you know, and that will increase the page count. But what we're going to do right now in this particular video is we're going to change the spacing between the paragraphs. Now, as you notice, as I scroll up and down these pages, you'll notice that what's separating the paragraphs is another paragraph return. And we don't want that because it's not consistent. If you'll notice here, there's a paragraph here, but there's no paragraph return right here to separate this paragraph from this paragraph. So in the interest of making this thing uniform throughout, what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the returns between the paragraphs, and then we're going to put a space after value. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to hit Command F, which is find. All right, and then I'm going to say, okay, find what? Well, I happen to know that the paragraph return is the caret. That's the figure above the 6. So you hit the Shift key, you put in the caret, and then you put in the letter P. And if you're not sure what these symbols or what the symbols are, all you have to do is I'm going to cancel out of this. I'll just say done. You can just copy, just highlight a return because it is a character. Copy it, then click off, so nothing is selected, and then you can highlight and just say paste. And you can see it's going to be the exact same thing. So we're going to say we want to change. If you notice, there's a paragraph return here after the word unity, and then there's another paragraph return. Well, we want to get rid of this one. So what we want to do is we want to say change the two paragraph returns that are back to back and just make them one. So we're saying anywhere within the document where there are two paragraph returns, we're going to make it one. And it's going to be the entire document. All right? So we'll say find next. All right? And found that first one there. And then we're going to say change all. And as you can see, it changed 95 instances. All right? And just to make sure we have them all, we'll say find next again. Change all. There are 3 more that weren't hit. Say find next again. And it says there are no more, so we're good. So what's happening now is we'll say done. So if we scroll down, you'll notice that it looks like there are no spaces between the paragraphs at all, which is basically what we want because we're going to build in a space after value. Now, as you know, what we're going to change is we're going to go into the actual paragraph style to make that adjustment. In other words, we're not going to build it in paragraph by paragraph. We're going to build it in the paragraph style. So now we're going to double click. We're going to open up the paragraph style right here. We're going to go to basic paragraph. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drop down to indent and spacing. And here it is right here where we see the space after. Highlight that. And we'll make it P20. You can make it any value that you want, but we're going to make it P20. We're going to make it consistent with what it was when there were paragraph returns. And we'll say OK. And now what that's going to do is going to run through the entire document. And as you can see, it added the extra spacing between the paragraphs. And it made sure that wherever there was a paragraph return at the top of the page is no longer there. So now your text is going to start at the top, and you're not going to have a return in place of, instead of having copy with a space at the top, it's no longer going to be there. So that's how you add the space after value. And as you notice, I see here there is something that says, let's change that. It says early and mid 1960s. All right. Let's make that, let's change that and make that a chapter title. Watch what happens when we do this. When we do this, by default, it's going to make that the title, and it's going to add another page because it's going to bring it over to the next page. Now, the second thing we want to do is add space between the titles, the chapter titles, and the text underneath it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to chapter title, double click on that. We're going to go down to Indents and Spacing, and again, we're going to put in P20, all right, after the chapter titles. We'll say OK, and as you can see, it opened up the spacing between the title and the paragraph underneath it. So for this part of the video, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to manipulate the spacing between the paragraphs. Stay tuned, is we're going to put in the headers. As you notice, in most books, there's a header portion that is above the text, which basically has the title of the book, and sometimes it has the chapter title. So I'm going to show you how you put in the headers. So we know that the title of the book is The Godfather, James Brown. So here's what we're going to do. Because it's going to be an item that we want to see on each page, we're going to go to the master page. So we're going to go over to the master page. So we're going to double click on the little page tab right here, or just click once. Double click on the A master, which of course now has the it has the page numbers there. But now we're going to build in the header portion of it. So much like we did with the page numbers, we're going to create a text frame, all right? And we're going to put this here, okay? And then we're going to open it up. And actually, we're going to make that text frame just like we did the other one. We're going to make it 2 picas, all right? Okay, 2 picas. And then we're going to open it up so that it will be the same width from margin to margin, all right? I'll just drag this over here, all right? Bring this over here. Okay, and then what we're going to do is using the type tool, all right, we're going to use the, let's go over to the style that we're going to use is the number style, all right, because the number style is pretty straightforward. So we're going to use that, and we're going to type in here, The Godfather, all right, Godfather. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to make this thing, we're going to go up here, and we're going to make it caps and small caps. So it looks like this, all right? And then let's just letter space it out, all right? So we can, if you put your finger on the, well, let's see, I don't want to give you that information. Let's just say we go over to, where do we want to go here? Which is metrics right here. And let's type in 30. All right, no, that's too much. Okay, well, you know what? Let's just leave it where it is. We'll leave it where it is. So I don't want to confuse you guys. So we have The Godfather right here. All right. Now let's do it. I changed my mind. Let's type in 30 here. All right. Now let's type in 100. So we start, as you can see, we're starting to letter space this thing out. Let's type in 200, just for an effect. All right, The Godfather. All right. So we have that at the top there. And then what we're going to do is let's take this, all right, and we're going to duplicate that and put it over here, and we'll say James Brown, okay? All right, now, and if you notice, once we did that, we put in The Godfather, James Brown, you can see, look, the numbers, because we started out with the numbers paragraph style, but since we modify it, we see the plus sign. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a brand new style. So we're going to click on the little paragraph. I'm sorry, my bad, not that. We're going to click on the little tab right here. So we add a style. Then we click here, and we're going to call this header. All right. So now we have another style that we just added to this document. So we have basic paragraph, chapter title, numbers, and header. All right, so that's how we introduce the headers. And if you notice, as we go down into the document, All right, you're going to notice every page, I'm going to kind of zoom out so you can see this. Every page now has headers on them. On the left-hand side, it has The Godfather. On the right-hand side, it has James Brown. But here's the thing. You're going to notice that there are a lot of blank pages. And typically, blank pages should not have anything on them. So we're going to start with the first blank page, which is page number 2. And what we're going to do is, we're going to open up our page palette. And if you notice, we have our master page, but then we have something that says none. Watch this. We take the none and we put that over the page right here, and it eliminates the header and the footer. All right. So let's scroll down. Wherever we see a blank page, we just put that in its place, and bada bing, bada boom, is gone. All right. So we're going to go down a little further. We're going to put it in there. You know, and then you need to do it on the thumbnail version. All right. So, you know, so you just keep scrolling down. All right. Until if you see another blank page. All right. And not here. We see there's no blank page there. We're going to come down a little further. All right. Come down a little further. There's no blank page there. Come down a little further. We're good there. But there's one on page, looks like page 36. So we're going to come down here to page 36. All right. And there it is right there. We take this and we put it there. That's gone. So we're going a little further. Make sure we get all those blank pages. Looks like there's one on page 42. Come down a little further. All right. And there, 42. Come down here. All right. Very good. We're going to scroll down a little bit further. See if we see anything else. Okay. And as you can see, we're already up to 53 pages just by doing a few little things. We started out with 33, and we've almost doubled the page count. All right, just by doing a few little things. Okay, so, and I see something that says tributes. You know what? Let's take tributes, and let's make that one a chapter title. All right, so we come here. We put our cursor. You notice I did not select the whole thing. Come over here to the paragraph style, and I make that chapter title. Bingo. There we go. All right. So now we've just added another blank page. And what we'll do is we're going to actually get, well, for right now, we're going to need that page. So let's just, again, let's put a blank page in its place because there's nothing on it. So come here. Make sure you get down to the bottom of it. Okay, let me see. It looks like there's something here. Well, we'll put this down here. Oh, look at that. Looks like there's something there. So what we're going to do is, let's make that, and this is very, very good. What we can do is, as you can see, there really is content there. I just couldn't see it. So I kind of blanked it out when I put the blank page down there, but we know that there is content down there. So we're going to grab the left A master, bring it down, and replace that. So now we bring back our header and our footer over this copy. Okay, so that's basically how we take care of our headers and footer. And stay tuned for the table of contents. So we're going to put in our table of contents. Now, the table of contents is very interesting. It's really a lot of fun, but it can be a little tricky. So what I want to do is I want my table of contents to have its own spread. So I'm going to put in a spread between what is page 1 and then what is 2 and 3. And of course, you know that page 2 doesn't have a number beneath it or at the bottom because we actually covered that master A with none. So it actually removed the header and the footer, which would be the name and of course the number. So we're going to add a spread between page 1 and 2 and 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the page palette, slide up to the little grid right here, all right? And then I think this is outside of your vision. So there's something that says Insert Pages. All right, I'm going to click on that. All right, so it's going to ask me how many pages and where do I want to put it. So I want to put in 2 pages, all right, based on the A master after page 1. 2 pages based on the A master after page 1. I'll say OK. And you can see it added the 2 pages right there. So now our new page 2 and 3, all right, is between what was 2 and 3, but is now 4, and 5. Okay, so we have that. Now, next up, what I want to do is, if you're going to notice that uh, there are the automatic text frames that are here, I want to remove them. So if you put your finger on the Shift and the Command key, you'll be able to select those two frames and you can delete them. So basically, I just don't want them on my page because the table of contents is something that is separate from the entire document. Basically, it's something that looks in from the outside to take a look at the inside and then make the necessary adjustments. So now what I'll do is, now that I have that, I am going to go up to Layout, drop down to Table of Contents, and then I'm going to get this dialog box right here. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to say, all right, there's a couple of things that we're going to do here in this area. So you have to pay close attention. So where it says TOC style, all right, that's basically, do we want to have a title for this page? Well, for right now, I'm going to say no. So I'm going to delete the word title from here. All right, so in other words, this top section now is null and void. There's going to be no TOC title here. There's going to be, so it's going to have no paragraph style. Okay, great. Here's how this whole thing works. We want the chapter titles to determine the actual table of contents. So we click on chapter title, we'll say add. So once we've done that, you're going to see we have this over here. All right. Now, once we've done that, we're going to drop down to, we have the chapter title here. We're going to drop down to where it says, okay, well, we need to give that a style. So we're going to click here, all right, and you're going to notice there's something brandy new that popped up, and it's something that says TOC body text. That's the one we want. We click on that. That's a generic style that we are going to customize once we get the content in or on the page. Then now we're going to click on the button that says More Options, and as you can see, it dropped down some more information here. And we're going to say we want the page number to go after the entry. So in other words, we're going to have the chapter title, then the page number after the entry. And where it says style, we're going to, we'll just keep it at none. We'll keep it at none. Then underneath that, it says between entry and the number, we want to have a tab. A tab that's going to go between the entry and the number, and it too is going to have none. All right? So we have the chapter title is going to be our style for the table of contents. We're going to use their generic TOC body text as the style. The number is going to go after the style, and it's going to have, it will not have a style. And then there's going to be a tab between the name of the chapter and the number. So let's just say okay and see what that looks like. So you notice what it did was it has this, I call it the loaded gun. So let's just click and drag and create a frame, and let's see what it does. As you can see, what it did was it put, I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. It put this information here on our page. It has intro, page 5, early life, blah, blah, blah. So as you can see, it took all of the information that that's on this, it's in this book with their page numbers, and to put it in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to style this. So let's style the first one. Let's say we want to make the chapter titles all caps. So we're going to make that all caps. All right, and then let's just say we want to have paragraph indents. So we're going to go up to type, and we're going to say we're going to go to paragraph right here, and we're going to put in a paragraph indent value of say 2 for on the left hand side, and then a paragraph indent of 2 on the right hand side. Now, of course, nothing changed here. Let's get this out the way. Nothing changed here because the 5 is right after the intro. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to say, all right, we're going to highlight this 5, and we're going to say flush that to the right. So we click here for flush right, and as you can see, it went all the way over here, all right? But it didn't go to the edge because that's where that gap right there is the indent, the right indent. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring up the tab stop option. We go up to type. We're going to drop down to tabs. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say we want to put leaders. So we'll say space and then a period, and we'll put the leader in there. And you know what? In order to do that, we have to have a tab stop. So let's take the right, the right tab stop, bring that down, put that in here, all right? And then you can see there's the leaders. So we have the 22 pica is going to be our X factor, X value. There's our tab stop, and in between that is these leader or the period. Now, if you notice, what I did was I put a space and a period. If I just put a period, you'll notice that it's going to be very, very tight. So I put a space so that it opens it up a little bit. All right. So we have this style. So we have this configuration here, and I only had to do it on once because, as you can see, what we're going to do now is we're going to come over here to the paragraph style, and guess what? We can see that TOC body text has been altered from what was originally placed in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on that revised TOC body text, and we're going to say redefine style. And once we redefine the style, look what it did. It actually took all of this information here and it made it look just like the style above. All right. So now we have our table of contents, but I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to show you a little bit more about how we can, how powerful this particular feature is. Installment, and hopefully you guys will have gotten something from this. And again, you can make all kinds of changes, but let's let's finish up with this table of contents so you can see exactly how powerful this little feature is. So if you notice now, when we first created the table of contents, we did not put in a title. All right. Well, I'm going to want to put in a title now. So just put your cursor anywhere in this frame. Doesn't make a difference. And we're going to go up to layout. We're going to drop down to table of contents. Okay. And then what we're going to do is now we are going to put in a title. So let's call this thing, we'll call this thing table of contents. All right. And we are going to base this style, okay, on, we're going to do this thing, instead of saying TLC title, let's say TLC title. We'll say TLC title, all right? That's going to be our new table of content title, so we'll say OK. So if you notice, what it did up there was it added this table of contents at the top, but you can see it doesn't really match anything that we've already established. We want to make this thing look like the Trajan that we have in the rest of our layout. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to put that. We can put the cursor right here. We do not have to highlight the entire thing. All right. Actually, yes, we can put it right here. We're going to go over the TLC title, double click on that. Matter of fact, we didn't even have to select it. We can come over here to the basic character formats, highlight that, and let's change that to Trajan, and that's going to be the Trajan regular. All right. We can make that 24 point. All right. And again, if we want to change this, we can. All right, we'll just say OK. Okay. And then what it's going to do is once it does that, you can see there it is right there. And maybe that's a little bit too big, so I can make it a little smaller. I'll highlight that. I'll double click on that. And then I'll say change that to, let's make that 18 point. All right. So now you can see it's a little more manageable. Okay. All right. So that's going to be our table of, that's our Trajan table of contents. Okay. And we can also, if we want to give it a little bit more space in our TLC title, we can give it a space after value. All right. So we come down here to Indent and Spacing, and we can say, give me a space of, let's make that 3 picas. All right. So now you can see we have a little more space. And what I want to do now is I'm just going to move this down. This I'm going to do optically. Just move it down so it's optically centered on the page. All right. And so now we have that on the page. So if you notice now, class, if you take a look at this table of contents, you'll see that where it says marriages and children and then tributes, there is a space before both of them. Well, you don't delete the space here. You delete the space on the at the actual chapter, and it will automatically update. All right, so let's do that. So we know marriages and children is on page 39. So we're going to go to page 39. All right, and there it is. All we do is we just put the cursor right here, and then we delete it right here. All right, and then when we go back to our table of contents, we're going to put our cursor anywhere and anywhere. It doesn't make a difference. And we're going to go to Layout. We're going to drop down to Update Table of Contents, and boom, it's gone. So we're going to do that again on Tributes, which is page 55. So we go down to page 55, and we're going to see there it is right there. And we're going to put that in there. And then we're going to go back to our table of contents, put our cursor in there. All you have to do is put your cursor in there, and then you can say update, and boom, it's gone. So anything that you do, so you might say, well, why is this important? All right, well, let's say this. Let's just say between personal life and marriages. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to page 39, and I'm going to add two more spreads between personal life and marriages. So I'm going to page 39. Okay, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to come over here to the page palette. I'm going to come over here to insert pages, and I'm going to say insert 2 pages, all right, before 2. Actually, I'm going to say insert 4 pages because I want 2 spreads. 4 pages between, let me see, after 39? No, I want it before 39, all right, based on a master, and I'll say okay. All right, now, what it did was, if you notice, and I'll zoom out so you can see this, all right, it added 2 more spreads, and it's true, it's blank, all right, because there was no content, but it added 2 extra spreads between what was marriage and children, all right, from the chapter before it. So right now, let's go to page 3, all right, where and I'm going to zoom in now so you can see this. All right. Now watch this. I just put my cursor anywhere in this table of contents. Keep your eye on marriage and children. I go to Layout, drop down to Update Table of Contents, and look what happens. Those numbers change automatically. So these are the benefits to being able to work with table of contents, with a functioning table of contents, so that if there are any adjustments at all in your layout that your client gives you, if you set it up properly, you'll be able to make those adjustments in seconds. And yes, that is a billable change, if you get my drift. Okay, that's it. Hopefully you guys can continue on. I want you guys to wow me. Oh, one more thing before I leave here is I'm going to make a quick video right after this one to talk about the title page. The title page. Right now, we know that the title of the book is The Godfather James Brown, but let's talk about the title. Let's talk about the title page in the book. The title page in the book. All right, now, as you know, the interior of the book will not have any color. But typically, the title page in the book, all right, should mimic the cover minus the artwork, typically. So let's say, for example, here's a quick mock-up. As you're looking at it right here, there's a picture of James Brown, all right, and you can see there's the red type right there. All right, well, we know there can't be any color. We know that it can't bleed, and we know it has to be black and white. So basically, we just want to use those elements, which would be the words. So let's say, for example, if you're going to put in your title page, the first thing I would recommend is your title page should not have it should not have a header or a footer. It's just going to be a blank page with the title. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the blank over page 1 so it will eliminate the header and the footer. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to delete book title because that shouldn't be there at all. So now I happen to know what that font is. All right, I believe it's Machine. So I'm going to highlight those 2 paragraphs because that's what they are, paragraphs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my character palette right here, and I'm going to type in, I believe it's ITC Machine. Let's see. Yes, ITC Machine. We'll use the medium. Let's try medium. All right, yes, that'll work. And so now, let's say, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because James Brown is at the top and Godfather is at the bottom, I'm going to cut that out of there. All right, I'll put a return here, and I'll paste that right there. All right. So now I have that, and as you can see, it's pretty wide. So I'm just going to select those 2, increase the actual size, and I'm going to also increase the leading. All right, so I'll increase the size again. All right, and I know I want to have it centered, so I make sure it's centered. Okay, and then I'm going to just give it more space here. Return. Oops, not all of that. Okay, my bad. All right, so now let's bring this back. All right, there we go. Maybe, no. That's good because I'm going to show you what we can do right now. Let's say, for example, I like that right there, and maybe I put a return here. No, that's too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to cheat. So I'm going to go over here, select this frame, all right, and you guys can do anything you want. It does not have to be in this frame. It could be outside the frame. It's a separate element altogether. But this is the cheat. I'm going to go up to Object, drop down to Text Frame Options, and then I'm going to, let me bring it over here so you can see it, and then I'm going to say Justify. So now that I did that, you can see that it now forced to the top and to the bottom of this page. And that's typically, I mean, it doesn't have to be like that. But if you can take elements off of your, cover, whatever cover you design, all right, and then put that on the inside, all right, then now when the reader looks at the cover, then opens it up and reads and sees the title page, they'll see something that will reflect the look of the cover on the inside of the book. All right, and lastly, the last thing you want to do, I'm going to get rid of this because there should not be any imagery on the interior pages. But the last thing you want to do is make sure that your color palette is clean. So what you want to do is you open up your color palette, you click on that little, let me pull this out so you can see it. I'll pull this out, I'll put it back in. I'll pull it out so you can see it. You open it up, you'll say select all unused, and then you'll say delete. Get rid of them so you only have the color black. That's the only color that should be inside of this document. Now, do you need to do that? No, you don't need to do that. All right, but it will make you. It will make your files more efficient, and you will not have to run the risk of wondering whether or not you have any colors embedded in this document. Okay, that's it. Hope all works well. Again,